Today is the 8th of January, and all of us bluegrassers and flat pickers on the 8th of January, we like to play the tune called 8th of January. Why not? And this is a great tune to demonstrate how I use the C major scale, how I use the scale not only to help understand the melody of the tune, but also to help understand how I can improvise and vary the tune or jam on the tune. In bluegrass and flat picking music, we really like getting together and jamming on tunes. You can play your whole entire career just playing the simple melody, and you can do that in the classiest, most beautiful way, playing the most simple notes, and that's totally fine. Eventually, those of us who are a little more adventurous in our playing like to start improvising on the tune and taking it from there. So these are elements of learning a tune like this that you want to keep in mind. And we're going to start by just reviewing the C major scale, and then we're going to get into the tune a little bit, okay? So, if you are not familiar with the C major scale and you want to dig really deep into it, check out my lesson series here on JamPlay on acoustic guitar flat picking, because I do a whole couple of lessons just based on the C scale, and I go back to it often whenever I'm doing anything that's related. And the C major scale to me is the exact same as every other major scale. That's why I spend so much time on C. So that's what it sounds like. Let's play it together really, really slow. The idea is to learn the sounds of these notes. I don't care how fast you can play the scale up and down. That's totally not part of this exercise. The exercise is based on ear training and learning where the sounds are and learning where your fingers go to make those sounds. And we're just going to be using this for simple melodies, but that translates into everything else beyond it, including jazz music and blues. Here we go. There's your root, that's the C. And that's the 1, that's the first note of the scale. The second note is the open D. So that's just the open D string right there. It sounds a whole step higher. And then the next note is E, 2nd fret of the D string. Notice I'm using the 2nd finger. My fingers are splayed out to demonstrate. I like to keep my fingers as close to the fretboard as possible. But there it is, 2nd fret of the D string, that's the 3rd note of the scale. 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, that is the 4th note of the scale, that's an F. And then the next note is the open G. That's the 5th note of the scale. The next note is the 2nd fret of that G string, and that's an A note, and that's the 6th note of the scale. Then you got the open B string. That's a B, and that's the 7th note of the scale, and that resolves back to C. 1st fret of that B string, that's the 1, the 1st note of the scale again. That's all it is. It's 7 notes, and these 7 notes can be used to play any type of music that you want. So let's do that again, and now we'll think about the numbers. We'll think about C is the 1 being the 1st note of the scale. Okay, so play that with me. Here's C, and sing it, and sing 1. That's what that sounds like. And then open D is 2, that's what that sounds like. And then the E note, that's 3, that's what that sounds like. And then the F is 4, and then the open G is 5, and then the A is 6, and then the open B is 7, and then the tonic note C is 1. Now let's descend, exact same notes in reverse order. So starting on this high tonic note, the C, there it is, 1. And now we'll descend to the open B, and that's 7. And then the A note, 2nd fret of the G string, is 6. And then the open G is 5. The F is 4. The E is 3. Open D is 2. And then the C is 1. That's your entire C scale. Now there are a couple bits that aren't within the octave. You got some higher notes up here. From the C, high up, you can go to the 3rd fret here, and that's the 2, and then the open E is the 3, and then the F right here is the 4, and then the G note here is the 5, and let's go right back down to the 4, and then the open E, 3, 3rd fret of the B string, that's the 2, and then the tonic note, 1. So those are the higher notes. Those are the highest notes you can reach in open position here in C. And we're only playing in open position for this tune. We're not going to go up the neck at all. In flat picking music, we rarely go up the neck. We're mostly playing in open position and using all of those open strings. Playing things like that. That was just exactly those same notes of the scale. Nothing different, just arranged in a certain way that has that kind of sound. And now we got some low notes as well, so let's cover those really quick. There's your tonic note C, 3rd fret of the A string. And then going down, descending to the 2nd fret, that's B, that's the 7. And then open A is the 6. And then that 3rd fret G note is the 5. 1st fret F is the 4. You don't have to sing this low. You can sing it 4, an octave higher. And then the low E is the 3. And that's the lowest you can go. So let's go right back up from there so we can hear it resolve. 3, and then up to the 1st fret, which is 4. And then the G, 3rd fret, is 5. Open A is 6. 2nd fret B is 7. And then the C is the tonic. So there you go. Those are all the notes. If you don't practice that every day, really slow like this, I would advise you to, until you can just hear everything you're playing. If you hear a melody that goes da 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 da, then you think, oh, da, starts on the 1. And you can just play the scale in that sequence. If you hear a melody that goes da 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 da, that obviously starts on the 5. 5. How do I know that? Because I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so many times that I know if I hear da da da, then I know that that's the 5th. That starts on the 5 and it goes from there. If I hear da 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 da, if you practice the scale every day, you will be able to do this. Piece of cake, second nature. That's the idea, so we can flow and enjoy the music we're playing, and we don't have to stare at the notes on a page that much. You can do this by ear. So, let's get to the tune, and we're going to learn this tune together, just one lick at a time. And I intentionally did not write this out because I want you to really put the scale into practice and utilize your ability to learn something by ear. And in the oral tradition, as this music was passed down from generations before. Most of this kind of music was never written down in the first place. It was taken from a certain region. This tune, 8th of January, it's an American fiddle tune, and it's telling the story. It was written in commemoration of the Battle of 1812. And it was not written down. It was passed on through the tradition of fiddle tunes, which is by ear from one generation to the next. So we're going to learn it that way. And here's the tune. I'm going to play it once, just for your reference, to kind of get it into your head, and then we'll break it down. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You've heard that before. Part of the fun of this flat picking style is that you're playing around with familiar tunes. These are tunes and melodies that you've probably heard growing up. So you can take any simple, fun folk melody and arrange it into a flat picking tune. So, we're playing this in the key of C major. I need to make a note to you that this is typically a D tune. The fiddle players like to play this in D major. I'm just showing you this in C because I don't know if you all have capos. But in bluegrass and flat picking, you need a capo. I would normally play this with a capo on the 2nd fret. So I'll kind of do that maybe at the end of the lesson, but I wanted to do this out of open position just in case some of you don't have your capos ready. So that's the other beauty of flat picking guitar. If you learn something in a certain chord shape or a certain scale position, you can use the capo if the key changes to transpose to another key, and it would be the exact same fingering, and the capo helps you to do that. So now I'm going to play the chord changes one time just to kind of help you get this song in your head. And you can go ahead and play along if you want. The chord changes are just a C major, an F major, and a G major. It's just a 1-4-5 chord progression. And the A part of the tune does those 3 chords in sequence, 4 beats each. It's 4 beats on a C chord, 4 beats on an F chord, 4 beats on a G or a G7. You can do that if you want. And then back to 4 beats on the C chord. The B part is even easier. It's just a long C chord with a quick little G back to the C. Okay? So I'll kind of sing the melody of the tune while I play the chord changes, and I'm doing a simple bluegrass boom strum with the root 5, root 5. Again, there's lots of resources on JamPlay in the flat picking and bluegrass section if you aren't familiar with that type of strum. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba 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 da 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 da. Da 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 da. One more time. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So now I hope that's in your head a little bit. One of the things you can do to practice this is just to sing that. You know, sing the tunes. That's how we learn them. Okay, so here's the first lick. It goes like this. So starting on the C, right here, 1st fret of the B string, we're just going up the scale, 1, 2, 3. So just those notes in sequence. 1st fret, 3rd fret, open E. And then you play the E again. And then that high G, and then back to the E. And those same 3 notes in reverse sequence. So let me just play it, and you play it after me, and I'll go real slow. Now you play it. Ready and a go. And I'm using my down and up strokes. You can go just down strokes right now if you want, because we're going really slow. But once we get this melody down, you're going to want to go down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. And that gets you that bouncy, that type of rhythm. Okay? And then the next lick is, let's see. That's the next lick. So it starts on the open E, and then you got the 3rd fret of the B string, back to the open E, back to that 3rd fret, and then the root note, and then this A note down there. And then you can kind of see my fingers are almost holding an F chord shape. That is the chord that happens at that part of the melody. So let me just play that second lick and follow after me. It goes So let's try that. Ready and go and. Okay. So let's try to put those two together. We're halfway done with the A part. That's the beauty of these tunes, is that they have repeating sections. And once you learn each section, then that section will repeat and give you a little more time to get it under your fingers. So here's the whole melody so far. Let's try that together, and we'll do this a couple times to give you a chance to really get it under your fingers. Ready and slow. Okay. All you JamPlay members can come back and do this again on the archive if you're not quite getting it yet. Okay, so take your time. Let's try it one more time. Ready and go. Okay. Continuing from there, we start on the open B and we go. Those are just the notes of the scale in sequence again from the open B, which is the 7, up to the D note. So just those 3 notes in sequence. The open B, 1st fret, 3rd fret. And then we got that little lick to the open E string from the D. And then the open B. So let's just try that. We'll break this down into a really short segment. So one more time. Ready, open B, up the scale, open, I didn't do it quite right that time. Because the next note is this, the A note, 2nd fret of the G string, and then the open B, and then the C. So that entire lick right there goes. So you see how if you break it down into these little snippets, it's pretty manageable. And then you just got to go back and kind of memorize the whole thing. But that lick one more time is. Let's try that. Ready and go. And then after that, we have what I call a little trail off. You could get away with just playing that, so that would sound like this. However, we got this little trail off after that, which goes. And that's almost the entire scale descending. You start on the root, right there. And instead of doing the open B, you just hold that down and you go down to the 6th note of the scale, which is that A note, 2nd fret of the G string. So it goes root, A, and then right down the scale in sequence. So that's a very simple lick if you've done any practice on a C major scale. Again, it sounds like this. Da 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 da. Let's try it. Ready and go and. So that's the trail off, otherwise known as the turnaround. Sometimes you'll call that the turnaround. It's the little lick that's at the end of a section of a fiddle tune. So these fiddle tunes are very, very simple. Notice that I'm just using the notes of the scale. It's all about learning these little sequences of notes that fit together to make the greater melody. It's just like a song. It's just like a sentence. Where did the dog go? The dog went to the park. It's just the same kind of thing. You string notes together and phrases together, and you make this type of language of flat picking, but it's a very, very basic language. So let's try to play through that entire A part. There it is. each little bit broken down. So if you don't quite have it yet, it's okay. Come back and check out the archive and go through that. But I would encourage you to just go for it right now. Let's try to play it together, even if you don't have it right. This is part of the flow. You're just getting better and better at picking things up on the fly, because that's what we do in this tradition. So let's try the melody. I'm going to play that A part like 4 times in a row, okay? To give you a chance to kind of jump on and get the little bits that you can play right now. Here we go. A ready and a slow. Again. One more time. There's the A part. Now, I kind of intentionally left this part out because I wanted your intuition to figure out that every time we repeat the A part, we leave out those first 2 notes, the pickup notes. Those pickup notes are leading you to the main melody note, which is the 3rd, the open E string. So when I go, that's the downbeat, obviously. Da, da, 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and 1 da, da. So you don't do the pickup notes, but for the very first time, okay? So this is all about getting it into your ear and hearing it and playing it. We're not going to use any notation for this lesson. If you don't quite have it yet, that's fine. Take your time, come back, and just play that part over and over again until you hear it and you remember it in your head. Moving on to the B part.
Before we get to did you want to take a quick question here?
We can take a question. If we want to give your mind a break here and give your fingers a break, are there any questions in the forum?
Yeah, we've got a lot of questions, and then we're going to take a 10-minute break.
Yes.
As soon as we answer that, and
Okay.
then we'll come back after that 10 minutes and finish
Great.
up. Okay, let me find one here from Jason Finney. What scale should I study for bluegrass?
The C major scale. And then after you learn C major, learn it inside and out. And learn all your melodies in C major. Make sure you know how to play Happy Birthday, Mary Had a Little Lamb, all the basic melodies. And then learn some tunes, learn some songs that are in C. And then learn your G major scale. And learn all those same tunes in G. And learn some tunes that are particular to G major. And some songs in G major. And then after that, learn the D major scale. And you'll learn as you go through these scales in that sequence that they're all the exact same sound and all the same tunes, all the same notes, all the same style, all the same vocabulary applies to every single key. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the B part of this tune. Just to review really quick, the A part sounded like... It did that twice. Now here's the B part. It goes. Okay, that's the first part of it. And let's try that. This is very simple. It's all based around a C chord shape. And I wouldn't hold all of the notes of the C chord down, but I'm just showing you to demonstrate that it's this note is our first. You've all done that before. This is the first part of the melody. It's a little hammer-on from the D string to the 2nd fret. Then 2 strokes of the G, open G. And then Okay, so that's just open G, 2nd fret, open G, 2nd fret of the D, open D, and then your C note. Okay, so that's the first little phrase of the B part. It goes. Okay, let's try that together really slow. Ready and a go and. Okay, one more time. Ready and a go and. Okay, then it does the same thing again, the first 2 notes anyway, and then it does this figure. That's a really common fiddle tune kind of figure, this. That kind of thing. Okay, so that specifically goes like this. So we got that hammer on to start it, and then an upstroke on that note, and then right back to the G, 2nd fret, open, 3rd fret of the D, 2nd fret of the D, right to the C, open D, B, C. So, take a minute to get your fingers and your mind around that one. Ba da 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 da, and it sounds. Really slow. So that whole first half of the B part, we're halfway there on the B part, sounds like this. Okay? And that's most of the material. There's one little twist at the end, but that's it. So we're just going to do this same exact thing a couple times. And then we're almost there. Here we go. Ready, B part, slow. Again, and. One more time. And the last time it actually goes, same thing. Here's the little twist. So that's the only difference in the B part. So let me play you the entire B part so you can hear it in context. A ready and a go and. Okay, so the only difference is that very last lick, and it goes open D to the 2nd fret, open G to the 2nd fret, and then the high C note, 1st fret of the B string, then right back down. So it is. Let's try that. Ready and a slow and. One more time and. So there's the tune. Let's go ahead and play the whole thing again from the top. Like I said, I'm hoping that you have picked up most of this as we have gone, but it's just like being a student at a class. You'll pay attention to the lecture, and you might have to go home and work on it a little bit. You might get the whole thing right there if you're paying real close attention and following it. Either way, it's totally fine. Just take your time and learn this tune. And here we go. Here's the whole thing. A 1, 2, ready, and go. Fun. So a couple of resources that you can go to help you to expand on this and work it into more of a performance for yourself. There's a lesson that I did a while back called Taters and Tags. We don't have enough time to go over those right now, so go to the lesson. You can probably just search it on the site, Tyler Grant, Taters and Tags, and you'll learn the taters, which are a good kickoff. That's an introduction figure. It's a count-off figure. 1, tater, 2, tater, 3, tater, 4. And then you'll want to learn a tag. So when you finish the song, you want to tag it. And the tag is a figure like... Okay? So I tell you what, right now I'm going to go ahead and play this tune for you in a performance style. So I'm just going to play the melody through once, and then I'm going to play through it again, and I'm going to kind of start improvising on it. And I'm not going to deviate from the C major scale at all. I'm going to just show you ways that you can take this melody and have fun with it. And this is the way I like to play. I like to jam on tunes. I don't like to deviate too far from the melody. I don't want to just start riffing on something that totally has nothing to do with the melody. I want to just expand on the melody and make it really interesting and add some twists and turns to it. Okay? So I'm going to start with taters, and once I end the tune, I'm going to tag it. Okay? So here we go. Twice through the tune. So that was purely improvised, and the way I do that is I just sing these melodies in my head all the time. So I hear da 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 da. And I know that'll fit into it. So a lot of this mental practice happens away from the instrument for me. Whenever I'm out on a hike or in the car driving a long drive, I'll sing these melodies in my head. And that's how I get my practice. And then I put them onto the guitar, and I do that by practicing that C major scale really, really slowly until I hear all those sounds to the point where I can go da 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 da. It's all based on what I'm hearing. So this frees me from having to read tablature, from having to read notes, from having to learn something from somebody else in their style. This allows me to create my own style. So have fun with that. That tune, again, it's called 8th of January. There's probably lots of sources online of people playing that tune that you can check out. And remember, if I was playing this in a jam situation, I would be Capo 2 because it's usually regarded as a D tune. So just real quick, it's nothing different. You just put the capo on the 2nd fret and play the same thing. Okay? And once again, let's just review the chords really quick. 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. C, C, and F, and a G, G, and a C. Hold the C really long time. Hold it, then the G back to C. One more time, the same thing. C and G and C. Okay? So get together with a friend, have one of you play the rhythm. Otherwise the chords, and one of you play the lead and go back and forth. It's really, really fun. This is how you jam in a bluegrass style. So I think we got some time for a couple questions, and then I'm going to play this sweet prize guitar here, and we'll give it away.
I'll change the cameras here.
Okay.
If you want to just tell them to refresh their browsers to make sure they're
Okay, so we're going to be doing a giveaway here real quick.
Yeah, after
a few questions, but I just want to remind you to refresh your browsers so that your chat is as current as possible and your videos as current as possible. All right, let me find here's a question that apparently is from everyone. Can you tell us about your guitar?
Yeah, it's a Collings D2H. I have lots of guitars of this style. It's a dreadnought size guitar, which is like, one of the bigger types of guitars, the most common in bluegrass. And this guitar was mastered in the early part of the 20th century by Martin. So I also have a nice vintage Martin. You'll see me playing that on a lot of my lessons here on JamPlay. I also have a Gallagher dreadnought, Gallagher G55, and I also have a Bob Thompson custom dreadnought. They're all basically the same type of guitar with just different types of wood, slightly different appointments and different styles of bracing, and they all, each guitar has its own unique character. But it's a Collings D2H. It's just modeled after a pre-war Martin herringbone, so they get this herringbone trim on it. But yeah, Collings from Austin, Texas, they make a great guitar.
Okay, from Michael, what is the difference between finger picking and flat picking?
Finger picking, you pick the strings with your fingers, and flat picking, you pick the strings with your pick.
Okay.
Beyond that, though, there's particular styles related to that. So listen to Chet Atkins, Merle Travis, modern players like Tommy Emmanuel. Listen to them for finger style, and listen to flat picking style players like Tony Rice, Doc Watson, though Doc also did some fingerstyle stuff. And there's a stylistic element to it as well. But the simplest answer is finger picking. You use your fingers to pick the strings like this. Or classical music. Classical guitar is a form of fingerstyle guitar. And yeah, flat picking. It's all done with a flat pick. You can see that. There you go. So, you know, like Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin plays with a pick, but he's not necessarily playing flat pick style, you know what I mean? So it's also, when you go beyond the actual description of the technique, there are unique styles to that. So again, check out great flat, you know, just Google flat picking guitar and you'll probably find lots of good resources. And Google fingerstyle guitar, you'll probably find lots of good resources as well.
You want to unmute me here?
Yep. Okay, here comes Jason with our giveaway.
All right, it is that time again, time for the giveaway. So we're going to give about 30 seconds to 45 seconds to let everybody get kind of acclimated here. We will ask the chat room to quiet down, please. And if you think that your feed is far back away from live, just go ahead and refresh your browser, and that'll bring your feed as close to live as possible. Okay, and I know you guys are tired of hearing it, but we do have to let you know every time. The guitars that we are giving away can only be shipped to the US, Canada, and Mexico, so basically North America. If you are outside of North America, we don't want you to leave empty-handed. We can't send the guitar, but we will send you a $100 gift card that you can use pretty much on anything that you want, but we would hopefully see you used on something musical. So we'll go ahead and get going. What's going to happen here is that I am going to post the winner in the chat feed as well as announce it live. That person will have 2 minutes to respond that they are here and where their location is. And if they do not respond within that 2 minutes, we will move on to alternates that have been picked. So here we go. Let me go ahead and get this pasted in here. Congratulations, IQB. That is IQB. You're the winner of the Breedlove Concert guitar. Please respond to us within 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes from now to respond, letting us know that you are here and where your location is. So we'll wait for you here for 2 minutes. Again, that is IQB. Yes, IQB is here. He says thanks. He's in Monroe, North Carolina. IQB, congratulations on winning the guitar. Please send your full name along with your shipping address to support@jamplay.com, and we'll also need your phone number. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to some questions.
All right. Okay, here's one from Natalie. Should we focus on memorizing the scale shapes?
There's a benefit to that. The best benefit, though, is what I told you about learning the sounds. The shapes will come into focus as you learn the sounds. That's my philosophy. The shapes will really help you if you need to just grab a lick really quick. If I'm sitting here jamming in C and I know my C major pentatonic scale. I can grab that really quick because I know the shape, but I don't actually think about that when I'm playing. I'm thinking, I'm still thinking about the sounds. So whenever I learn a shape, if I was practicing, for instance, that C major pentatonic, I would sing it like that. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. Because then I will know exactly that is the same as. And if I want to play something that goes da 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 da, you know, I'll know where that is. It doesn't help to just know the boxes, to just know the shapes. You have to know the sounds as well. So as you play them, learn the sounds.
Okay. Here's one from Steve. Bluegrass is dependent on major scales, right?
Indeed. There's a bluesy element to bluegrass as well, which we didn't really talk about in this lesson because we don't really need to go there in this lesson. We're talking about playing a standard fiddle tune in C major. And you can always blues it up. So if I'm playing that song, that tune, in my demonstration, I was totally focused on the C major scale. I wasn't really deviating from it. I might have had one or two little chromatic leading notes in there. But you can totally blues it up. Like, check it out. Here's one time through, and I'll try to throw in a little bit of bluesy improvisation. So you can totally throw that bluesy stuff in, but that I would advise you to wait until you really understand how the major scale sounds apply. In other words, learn the melodies. Like, you got to know the melodies. That's the most important part. And the melodies all come from the scale.
Okay, from Ken. In bluegrass, is strumming typically all downstrokes?
The boom strum is all downs. Boom strum, boom strum, boom strum, boom strum. That's the basic rhythm. Beyond that, you can incorporate some up strums like So there's an entire lesson in one of these live lesson series where I talk about rhythm, strum patterns in bluegrass. So again, find that lesson, and there's a whole hour of that kind of stuff. I think if you just search this site for Tyler Grant bluegrass strum patterns, I believe it'll come right up.
Okay, this will be our last question for the hour. From Greg Cooper, is there a difference between root and tonic?
It's no, it's the same. It's the same thing. I call it the root note because a lot of people understand that. The word tonic is the more analytical, correct way to say that. The tonic note is the center of the tonality in which we're playing. So in the key of C major, C is the tonic. So that means everything resolves to the tonic. But I often call it the root note just because that's something that people might have heard before and might understand as the grounding center of that tonality. So no, there's no difference between those two words.
Okay. I think that wraps it up for this hour.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Tyler.
Thanks, everybody.